get you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them, they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barretons too, cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up.
All right, a pleasant good evening. Welcome to this special edition live from the Square of the Revolution via 107.1 FM. And of course, it's compliments of Mark Benchcott. My name is Christopher Jones, and I'm thanking you very much for joining me outside of on the Square of the Revolution, the eve of the official launch of the APNU Coalition campaign, which is set to take place right here on the Square of the Revolution. It commenced from 4 p.m. in the afternoon with a rich cultural extravaganza. And at 5 p.m. sharp, we'll have the first set of speakers gracing the platform. As you can see out here, around just about last evening, the commencement of the preparation for the venue had started, and these guys have literally been working for the past 7 hours, mounting the stage, the music system, and of course later on this evening they will be mounting the large 20-foot screens. There are actually 3 screens. Let me see if I can do a little zoom here for you. But so there's a 20-foot screen which is going to be on the stage to display the speakers who will be on the stage. All right, so I note that the music, yeah, I'm actually coming to you from inside of a vehicle because some technicians are currently running there's some checks, so it's very loud outside. I do hope that I am coming over very audible so that you can hear me clearly. Tomorrow, it is anticipated that thousands of Guyanese from all walks of life, from every region, and including those from the diaspora who arrived in Guyana last evening, and some came in this morning, and some are coming overnight, all to be part of the APNU Coalition Campaign official 2025 general and regional elections launch. As mentioned before, it is happening on the Square of the Revolution. What is going to take place, apart from what is expected, of course, the prime ministerial candidate, Jarita Fernandez, the presidential candidate, Aubrey C. Norton, there will be several of the new candidates that are on the list of candidates of the APNU coalition. And of course, you will have an opportunity to interact with them because some of them will be in the audience doing a little bit of meet and greet. There are those who will be making their first maiden presentation on a platform such as this. For those who know about public speaking, or you had the opportunity to do public speaking, you know what the amount of jitters and nervousness that happens, particularly when it's your first time going out and make a presentation. And even those persons who are seasoned, whether campaigners, whether politicians, every time they are about to make a presentation, there is that little bit of nervousness, a little bit of butterflies and so forth. But these new candidates of the APNU coalition will be taken to the platform tomorrow, and you will be seeing some of them for the very first time and hearing from them for the very first time. And that is why tomorrow is such a significant day, because essentially, apart from the months and the weeks and the days prior, it is on this day, on Sunday, the 6th of July, in which 7 political parties that have come together to form what is now called the APNU coalition. As you would recall, back in 2011, when the APNU coalition first started, it started with 5 political parties. And subject to correction, those parties were the Justice for All Party, which is Mr. C.N. Sharma, the Working People's Alliance, a political movement that have been in the political sphere of Ghana for a number of years, with its founder leader, Walter Rodney. There was the Guyana Action Party, an Amerindian-based or indigenous-based political party that operates out of Region 9. There was the National Front Alliance with Mr. Keith Scott, a known person who spent years in the fight for labor and justice for workers in the labor system. And of course, you had the People's National Congress Reform, the largest of the 5 at that time, which is the largest mass-based political movement. That was back in 2011. 5 parties formed the APNU coalition. And then subsequently, leading into the 2015 general and regional elections, you had the Alliance for Change, which joined the coalition, but remained with its. There was the APNU plus AFC coalition, and they contested the 2015 general and regional elections. Of course, we are aware. All right, so welcome back. Our apologies for that break in transmission. So I was saying to you earlier that back in 2015, to contest the general and regional elections, you had then the APNU AFC coalition campaign. And of course, that election campaign bid by the APNU AFC was successful, forming the government and president via former President David Granger. For this elections, 2025, the APNU has now added two other political parties in the coalition. So now it is 7 political parties that has formed the APNU coalition going into the general and regional elections for 2025. Tomorrow, right out here on the Square of the Revolution, right here on the Square of the Revolution, you will have those seven political parties that are going to be part of the meeting, and of course, several of the speakers will be gracing the stage, many of them for the very first time. I'm actually stepping back so to give you some amount of the grandeur that is happening here, excluding the vehicles that are out here, because these are essentially the technical people who are helping to set up the systems. And several things is happening because you have the technicians that are working on the lights, you have the technicians, the sound technicians, you have the technicians who are working to ensure the live streaming that is going to be had tomorrow. So when you come out of the Square of the Revolution, I am some distance back from the actual stage. There you have the 1763 monument in the background. Though you're seeing this space is dark, tomorrow the APNU, of course, will be providing the several lights that will be illuminating this space. But just to draw your attention to to just some amount of what is happening in Guyana. Now, particularly for those of you in the diaspora, I don't know if you can even make it out, but you can see there in the background, that is the 1763 monument. And if you recall where the 1763 monument is located, at the head of Brickdam, just across the road from the Independence Arch, the actual Independence Arch, or the actual symbol symbolizing when Guyana became an independent nation. And the 1763 monument sits across the road from the Independence Arch. It also sits across the road from the office of the president. And then next to the office of the president is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And to this side, it's the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, the 1763 monument is one of the most, if not the most significant monument in Guyana, and particularly to Guyanese of African descent. This is the state of the 1763 monument. And this is the progress and development that the People's Progressive Party Civic continues to preach to all and sundry, that Guyana is in a better place, that we're building 4-lane highways and bridges and so forth. Now take a look at this symbol that represents the Afro-Guyanese in this country, the 1763 monument that is strategically located in central Georgetown, the head of Brick Dam, across the road from the Independence Arch, across the road from the office of the president, across the road from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and across the road from the Ministry of Health. And this is the state of the monument. It has, well, in the fore background, you can see a street light, but it's the lone light that is on this square. And the monument is completely dark. The water fountain that many of us, well, as little children, your parents brought you out here to look at the waterfall and the lights that illuminated the coffee monument. All of those are gone. There's no water flowing, there's no lights there. You have overgrown bushes. You have garbage pile up and build up. And many would recall some years ago when there was a deliberate attempt by the People's Progressive Party civic government to leave monument unchecked, unmaintained. And it was civil society grouping and individuals, Afrocentric Guyanese who came together. They pooled their resources without financial support from the People's Progressive Party Civic that was in government at the time. And that is how we saw the restoration of the 7th
bus. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They done drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done.
Alright, so welcome back. So we continue to give you a better view. So we're still out on the square of the revolution. I did mention to you that the technical people are here and they're doing all of the various sound checks and tests and so forth. All of the various tests are being done. So tomorrow afternoon, it is expected that people of all walks of life will be coming out on the square of the revolution. We have the Guyanese in the diaspora, some of which arrived in country yesterday, some came in this morning, some are arriving this evening. And of course, as I mentioned before, the presidential candidate, the prime ministerial candidate, and several new faces, new candidates of the APNU will be on stage. I'm just trying to give you an insight as to the sheer magnitude of the layout that is happening here. So I just move a distance away from the actual stage. The guys are now at this point mounting the third 20-foot screen, which is to provide sufficient coverage. So once you're on the square of the revolution, from any vantage point that you are either standing or sitting, you will have a clear view of all of the proceedings that are happening. So right in the corner there, you have the screen that is going to be mounted in a few minutes. And then on stage, there's another screen there that will cover the people in the center. And then all the way back here, there's another screen that is set up midway. And of course, you have the relay speakers that will cover the entire perimeter of the Square of the Revolution. I ask that you excuse the vehicles, the cars that are out here, but these are essentially the people who are assisting with the preparation, the layout, the sound technicians, some activists and so forth who are on the stage. So the music just went down. So to give you a sheer excitement that is happening here, like open this corner here, you have the camera guys that are going to be on the square to provide you with live streaming. And of course, Philip Drayton is no stranger, and he, along with his staff, they are running the necessary tests and checks to ensure that all is well. And these are some of the views that are happening. All right, so this is gonna happen. Now, just before we break, the last time I was making a point to you as it relates to the Square of the Revolution, or the 1763 monument, which is essentially tucked away in the corner there, behind trees and high brushes. and there's no lights. There's no light to illuminate the 1763 monument, which is a significant monument in Guyana and a significant monument in the Caribbean for what Kofi and Accra, just to name those two, did to strike a blow against slavery back in the day. But the PPP likes to talk about progress and development, and it's the fastest growing economy in the world. But which country would allow a significant monument like the 1763 Coffee Monument to be in this state? And this is the state you can see. You can barely see the monument at the back there. And I was mentioning the water fountain that those of us who had the opportunity to see coffee in all of its glory, with the water fountain and the lights that illuminated the monument. When the weekend came and your parents say that they're going to take you out to coffee, you're all excited and you put on your socks on your shoe and you come out. This is the state of the monument right now. In Guyana, under the People's Progressive Party Civic, they love to preach about equality and provide an opportunity for all and sundry and all Guyanese. And there's no discrimination or whatnot. Now, could the PPP or Irfan Ali explain to this nation and the world at large, how is it that such a significant monument, the 1763 monument on the square of the Revolution, is in a state like this? With all of the oil monies and the monies flowing from the oil wealth, this is the state of the monument. And Irfan Ali and the PPP can't say that they don't know this is the state of the monument. Just across the road there, right there, that is the office of the President of Guyana. The office of the President of Guyana, the oil-rich Republic of Guyana, and this is the state of the 1763 monument. And then just behind the office of the President, there's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where you have all foreign diplomats. They look across the revolution. You have the Ministry of Health just across the way. And right here, folks, right here, that is Guyana's Independence Arch, the symbol that was put up there when Guyana gained independence in 19. And just across the way is the 1763 monument, and this is the state of it. And it is not by accident, that the APNU chose to launch its political campaign on the Square of the Revolution, because the Square of the Revolution and the state of the 1763 monument dramatize the situation in this country. When we speak about discrimination, when we speak about all of the issues and corruptions in this country, this is what we talk about. So today, to bring you back to the event tomorrow on the Square of the Revolution, this is one of the other screens that is set up to cover the tail end of the monument. And of course, you have the relay speakers. And directly ahead, you have the other 20-foot screen. So if I'm standing at this distance, for example, tomorrow on the square, I will be able to see and hear everything crystal clear. And the guys are now mounting the other 20-foot screen that is going to be mounted here just in a few minutes. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to wrap up this broadcast, but it's to stress to all and sundry that tomorrow is your opportunity. It is your first stance to fight, to stand up and say enough is enough, to stand up and say that as a Guyanese, you have a right. It is not a privilege, it is a right that the resources of this country must be distributed to every Guyanese equally, every community, every village. And it must not be a situation like we currently have, in which if your village didn't vote for PPP, you get no resources. If your region didn't vote for PPP, they limit the resources that are coming to you. Tomorrow on the Square of the Revolution is where you make that first stand. And that's why we continue to appeal to all and sundry that tomorrow you come out in your numbers, you pick up the little ones, you bring them out for the experience. You don't have to worry about having to go back home because you got to prepare for work the next day because Monday is a holiday. So whether you have to travel from Berbice or Linden or the Essequibo region or Bartica, you make that journey down to the Square of the Revolution because numbers speak volume. Send the message to the PPP that all is not well in Guyana, that you're not satisfied with the state in Guyana. And your presence out here tomorrow will send that message. And of course, the other activities going forward in this campaign. Ask yourself the question, so far you've seen various political parties out there campaigning and so forth, launching their election campaigns and so on. But you haven't heard anything from the PVP, and you wonder why? Because as much as Bharat Jagdeo every Thursday with his fluff and bluff that the PDP is going to get a landslide victory, they're quivering in their pants. Because, for example, last night, passing Freedom House at about 10 o'clock last night, there was a major meeting happening there. Now you ask yourself, well, this party was done so that they're winning landslide victory, calling meetings at 10 o'clock in the night on a Friday night. All is not well. The APNU is poised to regain governance in this country and to continue the program that we did, ensuring that the resources of this country is equally distributed to everybody. It was the APNU, as I mentioned before, it was the APNU that started to pave the road networks in Mabarumo, in Region 1. It was the APNU that started to pave the roads in Port Kaituma. It was the APNU that paved the roads in Lepem. And not only that, we made those very same areas tongues. Bartica is now a tongue. Lepem is now a tongue. Mamaruma is now a tongue. It is the APNU recognizing that once people get access to information, they make informed decisions. And it was not by accident that we introduced all of those regional radio stations to those various regions. So whether you reside in Aishalton, Wasaroro, Port Kaituma, Machus Ridge, you have access to information via those regional radio stations, all set up by the APNU. All of this work was done under the APNU without oil resources. Public servants every year enjoy huge increases in wages and salaries. Over the 4 short years of the APNU in office, public servant salary was raised several folds. And to date, the People's Progressive Party Civic, with access to oil monies, with access to the oil resources, continue to give public servants pittance. It was the APNU to ensure that you bring about a balance, that when we give increases in wages and salaries, if you are receiving huge salaries, $500,000 or $1 million, you would have received about a 2% increase. But if you are a public servant at that time and receiving a salary of $100,000, you are the ones who get 10% to start to bridge that gap in the wages and salaries. I say to you that tomorrow, much more will be said. The policies, the programs, the vision to take Guyana 2025 and beyond will be outlined tomorrow right here on the Square of the Revolution. Find your relative, find the fold-up chair, bring out the ice pitcher, bring the ice cooler. Monday is a holiday. We're gonna be on the square of the revolution in our numbers. Come from Morbies, come from West Coast Barbies, come from the Essequibo Islands, come from Bartica, come from Linden, come from Mabaruma, come from Port Kaituma, come from Machus Ridge, come from Arakaka, come from Big Creek, come from Osororo, come from wherever you are, and you're hearing this broadcast, tomorrow from 4 p.m. on the Square of the Revolution for the official launch of the APNU Coalition campaign. Until tomorrow, we'll be back live from 12 o'clock, right from the Square of the Revolution with Nation Watch with Marvin Williams. And then from 1 p.m., a special edition, The Candidates and You, will be hosted by me. At 2 p.m., the live broadcast continues with Trevon and many of the youth candidates of the APNU. And then at 4 o'clock, the live broadcast continues with Shanika Haynes. And then, of course, at 5 o'clock, I will take to the big stage for the pre-rally and cultural extravaganza. And then at 6 o'clock, we have the arrival of the presidential candidate, the prime ministerial candidate, the other candidates that will be gracing the stage, and we will commence our rally tomorrow. So folks, from the Square of the Revolution, I'm Christopher Jones, and thank you very much for this short update. And what I'm going to do is be posting a bit later this evening when the screens are on and the lights are up, some short video to show you the state of play on the Square of the Revolution. Until we meet again, have a pleasant rest of your evening. Goodbye for now.